Hello everyone, Death Save Anxiety here. Today I wanted to make a video about Magic again, actually. Magic the Gathering. I made a video however many months ago it was, I don't want to look, about my first Magic deck and how much joy it brought me and the little changes I wanted to make to it and things of that nature. And today I wanted to report back that Magic has actually been a huge part of my life recently, since then and recently and everything like that. I've got some more decks that I'm actually playing. Like I had 4 decks I think back then, but I played basically 1 or 2 of them. And didn't really know how to play the others and was, anxious about it. And I just wanted to report back that things are going well in the Magic space. And I'm actually playing with, in person at an LGS that I really enjoy, and it's been a lot of fun. And I wanted to just talk about my decks today, the decks that I do play and that I do have, and just what makes them each special, what kind of cards I like from them, if I've changed anything from them, although that one is a little hard for me to remember, so I might have to just kind of talk about the inclusions that I remember. What are my favorite things about the decks, like the synergies and how they kind of work together. So I'm going to start with zombies to report back about zombies. It's my original deck. It's the Gisa and Geralf, or Gisa and Geralf, however you decide to pronounce it. Grave Danger Precon from the starter commander decks from, I believe it was 2020. I can't remember the year, 2019, 2020, I think. But I think what I want to start with is what I've changed. I changed out some of the high cost sorceries and kind of like slower spells, because I find that the mana base in that deck, which I haven't really changed, is very slow, and it's very hard to get stuff out that's really high cost and kind of too risky to put out. Even though I do like taking risks with that deck, I think it's like a lot of fun when you just kind of throw something out there like I'm just going for it and just seeing if I can beat the end game kind of pressure and kind of situations with those cards. And you'll find out one of my favorite cards is one of those. But I took out like Necromantic Selection, I think that's one of them, or something along those lines, and just a couple other sorceries that I felt were just too slow and didn't really fit with my playstyle or just what I was wanting to do. Plus I wanted to include some extra mill in there and stuff like Unstoppable Slasher, which is a funny like pet card that I have, just a card that I really like, and stuff with like sacrifice abilities, like being able to sacrifice more, and gain more with use of my zombie tokens. I do want to upgrade the mana for that deck, the mana base, because it is very slow. I find that is my slowest deck for sure, and sometimes it just never even ramps up. Like it just kind of fizzles out before the game really, or before my game gets going, the game is over, sort of thing. Which is fine. It's definitely my beginner deck, and I really like it for that. My favorite cards, which I'll show. I'm not doing a video for this. I'm just kind of recording a voiceover, and I've taken a bunch of pictures. But my favorite cards for this are Mire Triton, which I think is a fun little death touch creature for the beginning of the game, and also you can kind of recur it a lot with Gisa Geralf, and I think that it just poses a little bit of a nice death touch threat in the beginning of the game when people don't want to block with anything they've put out yet, or sometimes even later in the game where they don't want to block with like their important stuff. If people are playing like slower decks, upgraded precons like mine, it kind of has an advantage in that sense. Gleaming Overseer, I believe, is the zombie that gives the tokens menace and hexproof, but I think the menace part is what really brings me to love that card. I really like having my zombies have menace, because if you create a bunch of tokens and they all have menace, it creates a problem for the people that don't have token blockers. Gary, or Grey Merchant of Asphodel, is just a pet card of mine. I really like that card. I don't know why. I just think he's just hysterical, and just, I know it's not that funny for the other people, the receiving end, but he's just a fun card. I feel like I've never used him to great avail, but I just really like him. I believe I don't have any of the cards in front of me anymore because I took pictures and then didn't keep them in front of me. But you use like the black pips or like the devotion pips to kind of deal damage, and then you gain all that life back, which is really fun when he enters the battlefield. Army of the Damned is one of those, is that card I was talking about before that's like that kind of high cost sorcery that doesn't feel like it will do a lot, but sometimes I've actually gotten it to work. I've gotten it to work like twice, I think, in my favor, where I got the zombies untapped and they were menaced with Gleaming Overseer, or maybe one of the ones where you can tap to give them menace. But it was awesome, and it left an impression in my mind that, like, man, I always want to play Army of the Damned if I can get away with it. And then Loyal Subordinate is just a nice little card in there that I like, where it has menace, but also if you have your commander at the beginning of combat, it just deals 3 damage to each player, which is really nice. It's just a nice little kind of like, it almost feels like a red herring card, where like it is good. I do like it. It is good, but it always feels like a problem to everybody else, where I'm trying to kind of get other things on the board that are not that, and they're focused on that, and it's kind of fun. So that's my zombies deck. I really do enjoy it as my beginning deck, and I still put love into it, and I play it a little bit, but it's not my favorite at this point. And we're going to move on to Group Slug, or Lord of Pain / Valgavoth. It is one of my OGs. It is a upgraded precon again. It's the Duskmourn. I can't remember what they call this one, but it's essentially a Group Slug, kind of tick damage for everybody sort of thing. I like to bring it out when people that have higher performing decks, or kind of like stronger decks, quote unquote, are playing, and I want to give them something to worry about, and kind of pressure them and give them tick damage and give them a reason to look over onto my side of the board. What have I changed? I don't remember what I've changed. I think there's some stuff that did like exile shenanigans, where you like exile people's cards. I think that was in this deck. I didn't really like that. I don't really like playing with other people's cards and doing exile shenanigans with that sort of like thing in mind. I don't really like doing that. And actually, I took something out of my next deck that I didn't like because of that. It's just not my thing, which is fine. I mean, it can be your thing, but it's just not mine. I put Blasphemous Edict in there, which was really a fun card to throw in there, because I think it's just another little, like, slap in the face, like Blasphemous Act and everything like that. It's just fun. This is my quote-unquote mean deck. When I'm like really trying to be like a problem, I'll play Lord of Pain / Valgavoth. I played it as a Valgavoth deck until recently, where I just switched it up for Lord of Pain, just to try something new, because my Valgavoth would get sniped when it got too big, when it just gets all those counters on it. When it synergizes and you get all the pings going off each other for tick damage and kind of like 1 bit of damage or 2 bits of damage, it starts really popping off and doing a lot. This deck is really good, even off like just out the box. It's really good, and you will be the arch enemy or arch nemesis for everybody for a little bit at least. I don't think I've ever finished a game with this deck, to be quite honest, just because you are the problem for a while, or at least people perceive you as such. My favorite cards from this one are Brash Taunter, which I think he's just kind of fun because he just stays out for so long and does a lot of that damage. Vile Smasher is fun because you get to pick, I think that's the one where it's your first spell, you get to pick somebody to deal damage to. Carder, Doom Scourge, which is kind of like a turn of goad, which is really fun. Plus, every time an attacking creature dies, you does 1 life to everybody else, and then you gain 1 life, which is nice. Sadistic Shell Game is easily my favorite card. Everybody sacrifices a creature in turn order, including you, but you don't get they can't touch your creatures. So it's like everybody sacrifices everybody else's creatures, and it's just it is a sadistic game. Torture Pit is one that I like. It gives you a lot more damage, and gives you a lot of mileage on your ping damage. I think that's non-combat sources of damage, if I remember correctly. And then Kaervek the Merciless. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, Kaervek deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to any target. Oh, yeah. Yep. That one's crazy. I feel like I've actually gotten Kaervek to stay out long, too. Like, where nobody was able to take him out, and then it just does work. Just does easily way more than it should be able to. But yeah, Lord of Pain slash Valgavoth Group Slug is a very fun deck, but people will perceive you as the problem, and it is hard to finish off the games with the precon the way it comes, unless I just haven't been able to pull the right kind of hand or starting hand or finishing hand or whatever, however it goes. But I do like that one a lot. It's very fun. I play it a lot less than I should, but I also don't really like to be like in your face the problem a lot. It's just, sometimes it's worth doing that, but I don't really like to do that all the time. And before we talk about my next deck, I'll talk about one that I had that I didn't like or didn't really think I gave the right amount of attention to. I had the Yuma deck from Outlaws of Thunder Junction, the Yuma kind of like plant creating and graveyard, land graveyard stuff. I had that one too. That was one of my original 4 decks, and that was the one that I actually played the least and disliked the most, because I think I didn't really understand exactly what I was doing with, all of my decks initially, other than the zombies deck, which I think was very straightforward, but I didn't really like it. And every time I thought to play it, I was like, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this whole game, just because I feel like I'm struggling to understand what's going on, or maybe I'm just going to make the wrong play and screw myself and stuff like that. So that one I took apart and actually, took bits and pieces of and put into other decks and just kind of put them into my collection. But I want to go back to that one eventually, but I'm just going to leave it, taken apart for now. And I wanted to talk about that being an original 4, along with the 2 I've just talked about. But yeah, I had a Yuma deck, and now it's just bits and pieces. So we're going to move on to Miracles, or Amanatu, which is a Miracles and Enchantments deck, which I did not understand at first, like I talked about with Yuma, but this one I have grown to love. I love this deck. This is probably, I wrote drew a little star next to it in my notes. This is definitely, I would have to say, tied for or first favorite of my 5 that I have now. It is kind of something that I avoided because at first I didn't really like 3-color. I found the mana curve to be, I struggled with it. I didn't understand it. But now I realize that picking a good first hand is actually very important. And sometimes it's just down to the luck of the draw, just, how it is with TCG and Magic. But I find that a lot of the games I don't really struggle as much as I used to with the land, mana base and everything like that. I think it has fun mechanics. I think the synergy between the deck and like the 99 and the commander is absolutely fantastic. I like the enchantments and enchantment creatures for the most part that were included in the precon, and I think Miracle is really fun, being able to kind of like surveil, pick which one you're gonna put on top, and then cast it out for really cheap. It goes pretty fast once you have your initial mana base covered to get Amanatu out. And then you have like at least 1 or 2, hopefully 2 of each color, but at least 1. And then you're just kind of golden from there. And it's a blast to play. It's like absolutely a blast to play. I find myself smiling and just really liking what's going on when I play that. Even if I don't, manage to win, it's like, yeah, I had a blast playing that one. I took out some of the enchantment creatures, which I didn't find as fun, like Arvinox I talked about with the last deck. I don't really like playing with other people's cards or like exiling for other people's cards and stuff. I guess like even Atali and stuff like that, which is in one of my decks, the next deck actually. I like Atali, but I don't really love doing that. I find it's cool. It's a really cool mechanic, but it's just not my style. So I took out like Arvinox, who was one of the big creatures that does that sort of thing. I added, cost reduction. I added a cost reducer, like one of the Glimmer enchantments from Duskmourn. I took out Arvinox, and I just kind of kept a lot of what it was doing intact. I don't remember anything else I switched out. I think I took out some exile stuff that was for my own stuff, exile stuff for the opponents, and just really honed in on some of the enchantment creatures. My faves are Athreos. I think it's the Shroud one. He's a god creature that isn't a god until you have the devotion, but he does these he does this thing where you put a coin counter on a creature, another creature, uh, every end step. Well, every one of your end steps, I believe. I think it's your end step. I'm almost positive. But what happens is when something has a coin counter on it, when it becomes destroyed or exiled, it comes to your battlefield, which is great because you can put that on so much of your stuff. But also, if you are gonna play with other people's stuff, or if you have something that's a like kind of becoming a problem on somebody else's board, you can kind of snipe that and take it for yourself. That's like the one exception I would say that I really do like is Athreos, but also because I can use it for myself and give myself my stuff back. Ink Shield is an obvious include here. I have won, I think, 2 or 3 times with an Ink Shield at the end of the game, where somebody's just gonna swing out at me, hit me for 1,000,000 damage, and then for each one of those damage, create a 2/1 Inkling, flying Inkling. I'm pretty sure they're flying, which is like incredibly important. And then, yeah, it's just Ink Shield is just a goated card. Super amazing that it's in that precon. Fear of Sleep Paralysis is probably my favorite card, just because it's like the problem card, and there's a tutor in this deck which allows you to go and look for it. I think it's like an enchantment tutor, but it's an enchantment creature. When it enters, when you unlock a room, and I think when you attack, or maybe when it enters, unlock a room and play an enchantment. Yeah, I think it's that. You can tap another creature and put a stun counter on it. Yeah, you put a stun counter on another creature, and it is not opponents just cannot take stun counters off, or like cannot remove stun counters when they attempt to untap creatures or tap a creature. I can't remember. Sorry, I know that was really messy. Basically, they can't take the stun counters off that you apply to their creatures every time you're able to apply a stun counter to their creatures. It's such a problem, and it's 50-50 whether it gets sniped and taken out. Usually it's seen as the problem when it is out, but sometimes I've been able to get pretty good use out of it. It's been a fun card to use. It's kind of like the best creature, I would say, in this one that I can perceive. I like Sphere of Safety. That one is awesome and has saved me, I think, twice. And it's just a super, super fun card to keep in your hand and kind of keep safe, kind of like Ink Shield. Except Ink Shield, I feel like you keep right till the end, where Sphere of Safety you kind of keep till like the end turns, couple turns plural. It says creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays X, where for each of those creatures, where X is the number of enchantments you control. By the time I put this down, it's probably my 4th or 5th enchantment, I would hope. Just like usually enchantment, that's it. Plus enchantment creatures and rooms and stuff like that. So it's like usually quite hard for them to pay all the mana, even with good mana. Like they're not mana screwed or anything. There are some opponents that have like been mana flooding or just have had enough endgame mana, have had a really hard time dealing with that. I find that one to be really fun. And it just keeps me. It is a Sphere of Safety for the end of the game. Dusty Parlor, I think, is the one that adds +1/+1s. I think for the mana value. Let me see here. It is whenever you cast an enchantment creature or enchantment spell, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to that spell's mana value and up to one target creature. So when you're casting the enchantments and you're getting them for miracle cost, but you're also able to put that money +1/+1s on the creatures that you have, it seems like the value is endless from that room. I really like that one. That's like one of my favorite rooms of all the Duskmourn stuff that I have. Archetype of Imagination is fun. That one's also a problem card. Creatures you control have flying, meaning it and creatures you control have flying. Creatures your opponents control lose flying and cannot have or gain flying. So while this thing is on the field, all the flyers that your opponents have are nothing. They're just, regular bodies, just like everything else at that point. And then Mirror Maid is a really fun include, or just kind of like a basic include at this point. I just really like what it's done for me at this point. You may have this enchantment enter as a copy of any artifact or enchantment on the battlefield. Usually I pick one of my own enchantments, I'll pick another Fear of Sleep Paralysis, another Dusty Parlor, or something like that. But sometimes it's good to pick your opponent's stuff too. But I've usually found that you just kind of include your own stuff. It's been fun. Miracles and Amanatu are just, it's been one of my favorite things to play. I find that I play it at least once every time I play Magic. It's just been a blast to have. That one I talked about for a long time, so let's move on. We're talking about Henzi, or my Blitz deck. This is a newer deck that I have. This is not one of the original four. This one is also my favorite, or second favorite. The only reason I would be hesitant to call it second favorite is because this one was built for me by some of my new Magic friends, which I think was really, really, really sweet of them. Like, they did it for my birthday, and my birthday is not even, it hasn't even happened this year. So, thank you so much to them. I won't say their names just in case they don't really want to be included or talked about in the video by name. So they know who they are for sure if they watch this at any point. And one of them made the deck for me. The other one made an altar for me included. In the pictures will be the altar. You'll obviously tell which one it is because it does not look like a traditional Magic card, but I love it. Every time I pull it, I try not to laugh. But it's like, I don't have a great poker face, so I'm pretty sure everybody knows when I pull it. And getting to play it is a blast too, and you'll see why. The synergies pop off in this so hard. Plus, Blitz is a really, really fun mechanic for me. I think Blitz is so fun. It gives you the ability to be aggressive, and it gives you a reason to be aggressive. It gives you that reasoning to be aggressive. It gives you card draw. It is a successful aggressive strategy in Commander when, not every aggro strategy is successful in the format of Commander. I feel like this one has done really well for me. There's lots of combinations of how you can use each card too, or how the synergies work. I found recently one of my favorite cards in this, which we'll talk about, just adds a dumb amount of synergy to everything else. It just kind of is play it with this. You draw your next card. Oh yeah, play it with this card that's already on the field, the one we'll talk about. I've changed nothing in this deck. This one was made for me. It's going to stay that way. I find that unless I really draw a stinker of a card that I just absolutely hate every time, I probably won't change this deck until, ever. I'm just going to keep it the way it is. It's a blast to play. I find myself enjoying this one, and I play it almost every time I play Magic. It's just really fun. I don't know how to describe the deck list because every one of the other ones is kind of based on a precon. This one's just built around kind of stompy monsters that you get out for less with Blitz, and also you get that added bonus of the card draw, but they get sacrificed at the end step. So there's a little bit of recursion to kind of bring stuff back if you want to play it again. So it's to hand recursion, I think a lot of it is. There's also when you sacrifice for when it gets sacrificed at the end step, you get a card draw, but sometimes you can sacrifice it from another card sacrifice trigger, and you get bonus stuff from that because it's going to go anyway. So it's oh, why not just do it with that card? I would say one of my favorite cards now that I've gotten to play it a couple times, which has been really recent because, you don't always pull every card, is the Gitrog Ravenous Ride from OTJ. It has Trample and Haste, which is already amazing. You can haste it with Blitz, but I find that I keep this one out without Blitz. Whenever the Gitrog deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a creature that saddled it, and it's a saddle 1. This turn, if you do, draw X cards and put up to X land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. Because a lot of the creatures in this deck are big, this has done wonders in my last couple of games where I was able to use it. There's a picture I have where I just have an abundance of riches. I'm just stupidly mana flooded, and it's so funny because I just this one card just gives every other card a purpose when it's blitzed. It's amazing. What else? Acidic Slime is good. That one's Death Touch, and it destroys, I think, an artifact, enchantment, or something when it comes out. Or land. I don't ever pick land, though, because I know land destruction isn't necessarily always taboo. It's mass land destruction, but I try not to touch people's land bases. I've played enough landless games and enough, mana screwed games right now. That's just kind of harsh. But I also play low power, pods. So if that's, not your thing, that's okay. High power is there for a reason, too. but it's Death Touch, which is always good. It's a 2/2, but that is very helpful to have as a keyword on it. And then that when this creature enters, destroy target artifact or enchantment is great. I love having the ability to recur that one too. Garruk's Uprising, obvious include in this deck list because creatures power 4 or greater uh, are abundant in this deck. When it enters, draw a card for, if you have a creature power 4 or greater, every time a creature power 4 or greater enters, draw a card, and everything is trample. Boom. And then I would say my favorite card that I can think of, yeah, I think my favorite card that I can think of minus the altar card that I have in there is Archpriest of Shadows. I found that I've gotten to use this a lot. It has backup 1. It's a 4/4. Has backup 1. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. If that's another creature, it gains the following abilities until end of turn. Death Touch, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or battle, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I've gotten to use that second part so much because adding that +1/+1 and that Death Touch to another creature just makes it that much more viable. And people, even knowing that second part, obviously, like knowing that second part, just won't allow it to hit any of their creatures. So allow, let it through, and I get to bring something big back. Let's see what else. Evercoat, Ursine. Oh, I skipped one. It's fine. We'll go back to it. They're not in any order necessarily. Evercoat Ursine is really fun. I like this one a lot, and I found that I've played this one in my deck, and I actually really enjoy it in other people's decks too, from when I've seen it. And getting to play it myself was really fun. It's a 6/5 with Trample. Has Hideaway 3, Hideaway 3. When this creature enters, look at the top 3 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, then put the rest on the bottom in a random order, and do it again. When this creature deals combat damage to a player, if there are cards exiled with it, you may play one of them without paying its mana cost. So basically, this thing puts away 2 cards under it, or in an exile area, and then when you deal combat damage with it, which it has Trample, get to play one of those cards. So you get to pick out of 6 cards, or 3 and 3 basically. You can pick some stompy creatures. You can play some nice enchantment, or put them away and then just swing with it. Especially, this is one that I usually don't blitz either because I want those cards for free. But you just swing with it. It's a big enough body where a lot of the time it doesn't have trouble. I have some +1/+1 stuff in here, and that Trample is super important for that. Noxious Gearhulk is one that I included because of a recent game that I had. Let's see if I can. Sorry, I haven't looked up all the cards recently, so I'm just looking them up now. This one is a 5/4 with Menace. When this creature enters, you may destroy another target creature. If a creature is destroyed this way, you gain life equal to its toughness. I had somebody bring in, I think it's Sin. Was it Sin? I think it's like Sin, something. And he had like a 35/35 or something like that on the other board. And I just laughed to myself and smiled a little bit when he brought it out because he was bringing it out without really a game plan. He even admitted, like, oh, I'm just going to bring it out because it's, it's funny to have a 35/35. I think this is the only thing I can do this turn. And knowing in my hand I had Noxious Gearhulk ready to, I was the next player, so I was ready to snipe that 35/35 health for myself. Or, that 35 health for myself. It was very fun. I just included that because I thought that was a fun play recently. Corpse Explosion is one that I really like flavorfully, I would say. I've gotten to play it once, and it worked really well. As an additional cost to cast a spell, exile a creature card from your graveyard, and then it deals damage equal to the exiled card's power to each creature and each planeswalker. Usually it's creatures, because I don't run into a lot of planeswalker players. But yeah, deals damage equal to that power to each creature. That's a great board wipe. And I love the flavor because Corpse Explosion or Corpse Explode was one of my favorite Diablo skills. And then the last one, last but certainly not least, is Artisan of Kozilek. This was the one that was altered for me. I'll put a picture of it up on the screen. And it's just kind of a mean, nasty little Eldrazi. It's a 10/9, and you bring it in for less usually. And you can return target creature card from your from your graveyard to the battlefield, which is fun. But also when you're swinging it at somebody, the defending player has to sacrifice 2 permanents of their choice. Annihilator is so gross, and I love it. It's just fun. But also, I'm very biased because of the altar. But yeah, those are my favorite cards, and that is my second or equally as favorite deck. I have one more deck that I want to talk about. I know this is a long video, but uh, I want to talk about one more just shortly, or quickly, I should say, because I made it myself. This was my first scratch deck. It's Kona, Rescue Beastie from Duskmorn. It is a green stompy deck. I find that a lot of the trouble that it has is that it runs out of gas quick. If you're doing a bunch of stuff, it usually doesn't have a way to replenish my cards in hand. So I'm usually kind of top decking a lot, but that's something I'm actively working on changing in the deck. Trying to improve the card draw. This one was a lot of kind of pet cards and fun pulls that I've gotten over the years, like old Gnawbone I got out of you know, I pulled one time. I pulled a Craterhoof Behemoth, which was really fun. I've got some other nice green creatures that I pulled, like some Surak, Tarkir. I think it's Surak from Tarkir, and then an elf that I can't remember the name of. I think I put him in my favorites, but I'm not sure. Just, yeah, lots of green pulls that I've pulled over the years have ended up in here. I made it myself. It's my first scratch deck. Obviously, I use stuff like Scryfall for help, and I had help from some friends with Scryfall. But I mostly was able to work on it myself, and a lot of the stuff that I worked on was making it have fight and bite abilities. So anything that comes out that's big and stompy, I want it to fight other things and just kill them for free, or bite them, or have them fight and win out on those fights. And then also tap target creature cards, where I'll tap Kona for mana or tap Kona for this, that, and the other thing, and then it allows Kona to become tapped for the second main phase and bring something in for free, which is kind of the whole basis of this deck, is to bring big stompy things in for free after combat and have them ready for the next one. My favorite cards from this are Kona herself. I think she's really fun and is a really, really fun commander to play, or has been at least so far. While I have not had great success with this deck, I think I've won once, which was more than I thought it would happen. But there's some problems with it, and I'm just working to kind of improve those things. But Kona is something that I think is a consistent, like, I think she's going to stay the commander. There's like another commander that kind of does a similar thing, but I like this one better. Rogue's Passage is the only colorless, mana producer in the deck, and I like it because it allows me to make an unblockable creature. Let's see what else. Thrun, Breaker of Silence was a card that I loved for the longest time, having never played it, because I, like a lot of, many Magic the Gathering players, watched Professor Tolarian Community College, and one of his decks that he made on like a deck tech or like a $50 deck at the time of making was a Thrun Smash one. It was just a big Thrun Breaker of Silence green Voltron deck, and I loved watching that one in the Shuffle Up and Play episode, and I just loved that deck, just like having looked at it, even though it's kind of a brutal deck. I played it once and it was pretty brutal, like deck testing and stuff. Yeah, I have Thrun in here. He's fun. I like him a lot. I have Lion Umbra in here, which is another of the cards I like. It's worked out great for me every time I've played it. It is a totem armor, so if enchanted creature would be destroyed, instead remove all damage from it and destroy this aura. The creature gets +3/+3, has vigilance and reach, which with reach being the kind of important keyword there for me, because being able to counter flying with green is really important, and green does have some really good ways to do it. Let's see. We've got Kona, Rogue's Passage, Thrun, Lion Umbra, and Galta. The more budget of the Galtas, I think it's Primal Hunger is the one I have. This is a very expensive green 12/12, but because you can just bring it out for free, it is so fun to just cheat out and then have people be like, what the hell, it's turn 4, and then it just gets blown up. But Galta is a fun card for me, and it has Trample, which is the important, that 12/12 just can't be chump blocked. So Kona is a special deck for me in that it's one that I made myself and have been trying to improve, and it's been just kind of a fun journey learning what's good with it, what's bad with it, and just trying to improve those things. But long story long, these are the 5 decks that I have now. These are the things I like about them, and what my favorite cards from them, and what I've changed, and just which ones are my favorites in general. And I'm glad you guys could listen to me ramble for almost 40 minutes about it. So thank you so much. Hopefully I have enough pictures and things to include on the like pictures and deck lists and stuff to include. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.